Hello, and welcome to the Emotionless podcast. My name is Logan. I will be your host for this lovely episode. This episode is going to be part 2 to part 1, called Title 9. Please go ahead and watch that for a little bit more context, but let's continue to dive in. So, I'm in this meeting with her, right? And I'm thinking nothing big of it. I'm thinking, nothing big. And she tells me that this girl has opened sexual allegations against me. Now, hello. For those of you who do not know, I identify as gay. I am interested in men. I want to date men. I want to have sex with men. I am interested in men. I am not interested in women. Never have been. Never will be. Unless I get absolutely plastered, and I think I'm going to get alcohol poisoning before I try and do anything with a woman. And she goes, this girl has opened a sexual harassment case against you, saying you touched her and you said things to her that she didn't like. I'm like, cool. And so she tells me that I have to go through this whole process and that there's a no contact order instated. Now, what a no contact order means is a no contact order. Hang on, I have it right here. A no contact order is something that is instated by the college that basically means this person and that person can't text, can't email, can't video chat, can't phone call, can't be in the same room, can't anything. Nothing. We can't be around each other. We can't be anywhere near each other. It means no contact. It means exactly what it sounds like it means. And so, I sign the no contact order. I understand what it means. And I leave the office. Pissed, of course. Shaking. The receptionist looked at me like, oh boy, this boy just got some news. Telling me a whole bunch of different stuff. And, at this point, I'm so upset I really don't know what to think. So I call one of my friends down. I'm like, hey, can we go outside and talk? And I kind of tell her everything. And they are obviously rather confused. I break down. And I call my counselor. So there's a counseling center on campus. It's got 4 amazing, wonderful counselors. I can't even describe how incredibly amazing and patient these counselors are. They are absolutely incredible, and I could not thank them enough for the things they've done for me. Anyways, so I sit down, I call my counselor up, I'm like, hey, can we talk? And she's like, I'm kind of busy, Logan. I'm full of appointments today. It's not that she didn't want to talk to me. It's that she had other appointments, and our appointment had just happened, was supposed to happen in, actually, it had just happened the day previous, so my next appointment wasn't for 6 calendar days. And I was like, I cannot wait 6 calendar days. I got to talk to you about what just happened. And she's like, all right, I will stay a little bit after my assigned time. Come around, 6:50, whatever. And so I come in, and very clearly my counselor can tell that I'm upset. She looks at me and she goes, some to the best recollection of my mind, I remember her just being like, something's going on. What's going on, Logan? Are you okay? And I ask her if she knows what Title 9 is. And she goes, yeah, no, Title 9 is blah, 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 blah. I'm like, apparently a Title 9 case has been opened against me. And she's kind of shell-shocked for a minute, and she just doesn't really know what to think or say. And I'm like, she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, XYZ. She knows who this person is, of course. Due to the logistics and legality of counseling, they can always say, I can neither confirm or deny I know this person. I can neither confirm nor deny I know what you're talking about because confidentiality. But I'm pretty confident she knows who I'm talking about. She's like, okay, so this person opened a case against you. Do you know what her allegations were? And at this point, no, I did not know what her allegations were. All I knew was that a case was opened against me and that I was going to have to be interviewed by an investigator and that I was going to have to speak with legal personnel, potentially, and that I was going to have a hearing with a hearing officer. I was going to have to find someone to represent me. I actually originally asked her, but she couldn't represent me because of our confidentiality policy. Or her confidentiality policy that she's bound under by law. She would not have been able to represent me and give me the justice that I deserve. Which, of course, I was upset, but, I understood. It's not like she didn't want to. She couldn't and give me the justice I deserve. Anyways, so I wind up just talking to her about this lane. She's like, stop. how are you feeling? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. I'm scared. I'm terrified I'm going to get kicked out. I'm terrified that I'm going to be kicked out of this college, because at this point, I liked the college. That quickly changed. Very quickly changed. I was really excited. I was just like, hey, I want to... I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to feel. I don't know how I want to react. I have so much pounding through my head. I just can't even think straight. I don't know what to do. And she's like, of course you don't. Of course you're scared. Of course you're nervous. There's so much probably pounding through your head. I can't even imagine. And that was very true. I was very scared. And I think an extent of me was unable to process what I was really feeling and experiencing, if that makes any sense. And I don't know. I think I don't know. I think my brain could not wrap my head completely around what was going on, and how I was feeling, and where to go next, because I think my brain was just at a point where so much information was being given to me with such little context that I didn't know. I couldn't form thoughts. Thoughts were at the back of my head and I couldn't think straight. I couldn't form thoughts. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't anything. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. I was at a loss. I think I was at a point where I was terrified and I couldn't even think what I was going through, really. So, I have the policy pulled up here, and it's called the Sexual Misconduct Response Policy. Now, this has since been removed from the student handbook. Red flag. And so what it prohibits is 4 different things. Sexual discrimination, meaning discrimination on the basis of sex, which includes gender identity and sexual orientation. Sexual assault, which means any sexual act directed against a complainant without the affirmative consent of the complainant, including instances in which the complainant is incapable of giving affirmative consent, including because of the basis of incapacitation. The sexual acts covered by this definition include fondling, the touching of private body parts, buttocks, groin, or breasts of another person for the purpose of sexual gratification, forcibly or against the person's will, meaning without the affirmative consent of the complainant, or not forcibly or against the person's will in instances where the complainant is incapable of giving affirmative consent because the person's age or temporary or permanent physical mental or physical incapacity. And this is one of the parts where they caught her, because first of all, I was not touching for the purpose of sexual gratification. I was touching for the purpose of I thought it was funny. And I know that sounds really fucked, but keep in mind, the worst thing I think I did was slap her butt. Yeah, that's it. And I think I squeezed her boob. Again, we will get into this later. And sexual harassment, meaning conduct on the basis of sex, including gender, that also satisfies one or more of the following. Employee conditioning the provision of an aid, benefit, or service of the college on an individual's participation in unwelcome sexual conduct. Unwelcome sexual conduct determined by a reasonable person to be so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it effectively denies a person equal access to college education, program, or activity, or sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, or stalking. These are the things that the policies that I could have broken, I guess you could say. Because the way these cases work is nobody's guilty or innocent. Nobody's in trouble. It's an investigation to determine whether or not a college policy was violated. And what that means is there is an interview from usually from a legal personnel. Mine was from Fisher and Phillips law firm. And they have an interview with both parties, both the complainant, which was in this case her, and the respondent, which was in this case me, and our witnesses. And then they have, then, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. Then basically they they're I don't know. I'm trying to think. Let's just move on to part 3.